What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am so happy that you're here. Naturally, I have been not making notes for so many of my videos when I started off, but now I just feel like it gives me so much comfort to have like a train of thought written down, and I just feel like it gives me a little bit more structure so that way I can deep dive into what I'm talking about. So, what I want to talk about today is what's called a hero's journey. And this was so beneficial to me. It literally shaped my whole life. So I remember a short time after graduating from high school, I actually decided that I was running a business. Like, I was a personal trainer at home in my hometown, I should say, and I was running a business. It was a successful business. I mean, I was in the profit every single month, and I was doing personal training one-on-one with clients. But the main issue that I was running into was just that I found that there was a limit because I could only make as much money as clients I could get, and I could do like group coaching, but I didn't really have like the space to be able to have like a bunch of people pay me. I could have improved my skills, but anyways, my main thing was I'm working like 12 to 16 hours a day. I'm working on weekends to try and promote my business. I'm working throughout the week because I have clients booked in, and it was just super hard. And I realized like the limits on what I was doing, and it was that there's only so many hours in a day for me to work, and I wanted to strive for more because I saw everyone around me. We lived in like literally the same cookie cutter house, had similar cars, and it was just creepy. And I was like, this is not happening. I'm not dying like this. I need to like literally change my whole life. And I mean, granted, I was probably 19 at that point, but I had that itch. And then once I had that desire, it just overwhelmed me, and I needed to change something drastically about my life. So I shut down my business, and I decided I'm going to move to Alberta. And at that point, it was in the dead of COVID, I remember. And my business was successful, but the thing is that I had other addiction problems. So I didn't really understand how to like budget money. I was never the type of person that, like, my dad describes the women in his life like this. He's like, you guys just make it rain all the time. Like, all the time you're spending. Facts. And that is exactly how I was at that point in time. I was just spending my money. So I probably had $400 in to my name, rather that be on like credit cards or in my bank account, whatever. Probably around $400, okay? I decided that I was gonna move to Alberta in BC and start a door-to-door job. So they were gonna pay my flight out, which I thought was great. I didn't have a lot of cash, but since I had just turned 19, I did apply for like a few credit cards, and I left. I packed my stuff and I left. I had a house. Well, we had a house. We had 2 dogs, and I was like, I'm just done with like everything in my life right now. I apologized to the person that I was with, and we got rid of the house. We rehomed the dogs to great spots that I don't regret. And I flew out to Alberta, and then that is where I was living from that point. I remember being so fucking stressed because I showed up there, and that night our whole office got shut down for weeks. But it was like one of those things where they tell you, oh, we're going to reassess next week, and then we're going to reassess in a few days. Like Monday or Wednesday, we're going to have news for you. Monday or Wednesday rolls around, and then they're like, oh, well, we're going to know more on Friday. Friday rolls around, and they're like, well, after the weekend. And then it was one of those things that went on like that for over a month. And I remember I had my credit cards come in, which I was super happy, but I didn't want to be irresponsible with them. But at this point, like, what option do I have? I literally cannot work. There's zero anything coming in from our business because it's strict commission. So I was learning door to door, and that's why I had decided, because I was thinking, if I can sell a product and I can learn how to sell a product, then I can just sell a more expensive product over time. And then it's not limiting to me the hours that I have in my day, because I was charging probably like $100 an hour for personal training, and it was just limited by the time that I could actually spend in a day, and then also limited by the amount of people that can afford that type of money for personal training. So, that was just where we were at. I was maxing out my credit cards left, right, and center. I was wondering what I did with my whole life. Like, I called my dad and I told him, I'm pretty sure I just made a decision that fucked up my whole life. But at that point, I mean, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, and you can't really see what you're doing until you look at it in hindsight. And I mean, this hands down was the best decision of my life, because I had a Jeep before and I really loved my Jeep, and it brought me a sense of confidence, and it was definitely my ego speaking to me. One second, my dog keeps on bringing this treat around on my fluffy white rug that she shouldn't. So, okay, sorry guys. So I had a lot of material things at home that I didn't bring with me, and they were attached to my identity in a way that I didn't notice until I didn't have them. And then it really just started to challenge like everything, because I was used to living in nice apartments that were modern and had nice furniture, and for me, I attached a lot of my happiness to having a nice place and it being clean all the time. And now I'm living with like fucking 10 guys. There's people everywhere. They're like, we're smoking weed all of the time. We're up past our bedtime. It's just like the structure of the whole house was just chaos. Like, there was no structure. And it was actually like counter structure. Like, I had my routines, I had what I was doing, but because these fuckers were stressing me out so much, it was like deteriorating my routines and my focus and whatever. So I was really shaken up when I first got there, and I felt like it really challenged like my sense of who I was, right? Because like I mentioned before, I had these material things that became like a sense of validation to me. And so then it challenged my character, because I was like, if I don't have this stuff, and I was hiding behind like the fact that, you know, I was a good looking young woman and I worked out and I had a really nice body and I always had really nice clothes, and, you know, I always had like my makeup on point. I had a really nice vehicle that I was driving around. I had a really nice apartment. And I had just great routines, peace and quiet in my home. And I really did not know who I was with all of those things in this pure chaos state that I had just launched myself into. And it was a really trying time. So once I kind of got shooken up, I find that there's this process that repeats itself all the time. So you go into a new chapter and you're thinking it's going to be a good thing, and it literally rocks your world. Like you're in a snow globe, and then you're just like everything that you knew is floating around. So I reset myself. I focused on what I needed to get done. I got my bedtimes in check, my wake up times in check. That way I could wake up before anyone in the house, and I would get out and I would go to the gym and I would be doing my thing. I still at this point had cut out half of the drugs that I was using, but I didn't cut out like smoking weed, because it's like, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. And also every single person out there smoked weed. So I was like, oh my God, you people are my people. Like, I love you. Later on, I learned that that's not the best approach for myself, because I'm just so fucking dumb and useless when I'm smoking weed. Like, I cannot read a paragraph to you and remember what I said and remember what it means. I can just say the words and like they don't attach themselves together and they have zero meaning. So it was just a beautiful journey, because when I came back from there and I came back to my hometown, the reason that it's called a hero's journey is because someone leaves home, and normally they have like a comfy home that they love and things that make them feel secure and all of that stuff. And then they get thrown out and their whole world is turned upside down. And then they come back home, but while they were out, they realize all of these things and they have epiphany moments and they're pushed to their max and they have these life lessons that they need to learn. But also, like, self-reliance and self-confidence have a lot to do with that. There's a lot of character building. So I remember having like these friggin' cold ass showers, okay? And just listening to like motivation speeches when I just needed to knock another door. And I was struggling so hard to make money. It was just incredibly difficult for me. I wasn't the natural. But anyways, like, just all of these things that led to these amazing life lessons and just so much value. And basically, at the end of the hero's journey, you return home, but you're completely a changed person. And what's so fascinating is you return to the place that you left, but you can't see it the same because you've changed as a person. And so now you can't see anything that you saw the same as you saw it before. And what's also really cool is that the people that were at home, chances are, like, never left. So really the only person that sees all of that magic, all of that growth, and all of that development is you. Of course, they do realize that, you know, there's something obviously different with you when you come back. But it was just, it's funny. Like, God whispered in my ear, like, a sense of entitlement. And I was like, maybe. I mean, I was thinking about it today. I was walking downtown in my hometown and I was like, just so fearless, because our downtown here, I mean, it's not super sketchy, but there's like sketchy things that happen. Anyways, in my mind, I was like, you have no idea what I've accomplished in my life. I was just walking around like straight posture, super calm, super confident, and I was like, I have got this. And it's just funny to see like people that want to push that part of you down, and they don't want you to be that powerful, and they don't want you to be all, you know, self-confident and whatever. And I know that there is like a fine line between cockiness and confidence. I understand. But when you do so much on your own and you accomplish so much and you stack so many wins, it just becomes this undeniable feeling that you literally, I heard a sentence, I heard a thing there one time, and it was confidence is a stain that can't be wiped off. And that's by Lil Wayne because it's in one of his rap songs. But facts. Like, once you reach a certain level of self-confidence and self-assuredness of like, I can do this, I can do anything, I can take on any challenge that life throws at me. And if someone calls you cocky for having that type of approach to life, you just, you shut that right down. You're like, nah. So for me, that would be like my number one thing that I would recommend. And I've seen other people do it. Like, other people in my social circle, they literally move away from home and they go on their version of a hero's journey. And some people aren't able to like pull it off. And that I just find unfortunate, because I'm like, you know, like, on the other side of all of that discomfort was like buckets and buckets of gold, but you literally turned around and you were 3 feet from gold. Like, you did all of the things, you just had to keep on going. And anyways, regardless of how long you stay on your hero's journey, if you actually get to the epiphany moments and work through them, you're still gonna have like an incredible life experience. And you're gonna have amazing life lessons that no one can teach you just by you watching a YouTube video or sitting down with a book. Like, you need to get out there and do things. So if you've been thinking about it lately, like, oh, I just want to like travel, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, fucking do it. And by the way, yes, I did go by myself, if that was something that you were wondering. And I strongly recommend, do not bring a soul with you, because it's just not the same. So if you bring someone with you, I believe I could travel with my best friend. So this is the 2 case scenarios. These are the 2 ways it's going to end up working out, okay? There's 2 people that I can think of right now that I'm pretty sure I would get along with the whole time that we would be gone. But pretty much every other person in my life, I know that there would be these little arguments, this little other bullshit that on a hero's journey. This energy doesn't belong. Okay, so scoot your boot, bitch. Two people in my life I can think of that I would be like, yeah, no, 100. Like, and even if we have an argument, you know how long it's gonna last? Like 5 seconds, because we are that much in alignment, me and these two people. So if I went with them though, like just one of them or both of them, you wouldn't have the same experience of like self-reliance and building self-confidence, because you can just turn to another person and be like, oh shit, what are we gonna do, you know, about whatever situation. So I strongly recommend, like, go for like 3 to 6 months and determine a goal, or like set some kind of standard for you that allows you to come home. So you're not going to be planning, you don't plan a hero's journey of saying, I'm taking 3 months off, I'm going to be leaving March 1st, I'm going to be coming back June 1st. You don't do that. That's not how a hero's journey works. You say, I am leaving March 1st. I have a one-way ticket. I have XYZ goal. Until it is hit, I am not leaving. Because you want to be able to push yourself to grow in a way that you're going to have a goal that's outside of yourself. So I remember calling my dad multiple times, telling him, I'm done. I'm crying on the phone. I'm sitting in a ditch because I'm knocking doors. And how it goes knocking doors, let me just explain. Monday to Friday, 8-hour shifts. On Saturday, a 12-hour shift. And every morning, roughly an hour to half an hour meeting before said shift. Except for on Saturdays, because you're working 12 hours. But the other days, you're pretty much working 9. So, you're working an insane amount of hours. Let me just think, how many? 5. You're working 40 hours a week right there. Then you're working 12. 57 hours a week. So, I mean, 57 hours a week. I know Elon Musk works like 70, 80, sometimes 100 hours a week. 57 is not a lot of hours a week, okay? But let me tell you, when you're outside, walking around, talking to people, almost getting bit by this dog, that dog, and the neighbor's dog, and you're stressed out because you have like these people following you, and then you have to interact with people, and you always have to be thinking, and you're stressed out because you're running credit checks on people. 57 hours, that's a lot. You feel the same feeling that you feel after you go to like a funeral and cry, like emotionally drained, or you go and get a tattoo and for some reason you're tired but you were only sitting there not doing anything. Emotional tax. So that is what door to door was like. And I was sitting in a ditch because they would just drop you off for the day and you'd spend all day outside. So like you needed to figure out what you were going to do for your meals, and you needed to probably walk there. Same thing with toilets. It was either negotiate with someone and get in their house and use their bathroom, or walk somewheres to wherever you're dropped off. And by the way, the locations are not really thought out so that you have all of these things at your disposal. I digress. But anyways, I was sitting in a ditch on the phone with my dad, and I was like, I'm done. I'm so done. I don't know what I've done with my life. I want to come home. I'm crying. I'm sobbing. I'm in a ditch. I feel like shit. I'm upsetty spaghetti. And I wanted it to end. And my dad told me this one thing. And this one thing will always fucking stay with me. You can't walk away while you're losing. You can only walk away when you're winning. And let me tell you, when you are winning, you don't want to walk away. Because you're winning and you're so happy and everything is so great. But you can only walk away when you're winning. You can't walk away when you're losing. And that for me was the only thing that got me through to actually hitting my goal and deciding, okay, you know what? I'm good. I've hit my goal. And when I was winning, I booked my flight home and I decided, case closed on that one. And that was my first really amazing, life-changing journey that I would recommend every single person do. I don't know, it doesn't have to be the same for you. Obviously, you don't have to go with $400 in your fucking pocket and a few credit cards, maybe not coming in the mail, and then max the fucking shit out of them. This is not my life advice. My life advice is pick an area that you want to grow in and set a concrete goal that's going to be extremely hard, but you know, you think it's doable. That's all that really matters, really. And then just never walk away when you're losing. That is my thing to you. That is my one recommendation to you. So I thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video if you made it this far. As you know, if you want to see more content like this, I love every single one. Like, I see my subscribers climb up and continue to grow, and every single person, I have the same level of like excitement as if it was my first subscriber. So subscribe, hit the bell, that way you don't miss any more content like this. And I'm so excited. Next time I'm gonna share with you another trip that I went on and what the benefits of that were. I will see you in a few days.